So this is the case study of a business owner in Nova Scotia who put $1.5 million into one strategy over 10 years. And the projection says that his family receives $9.88 million with no tax on any of it. But here's the part that really got to me, okay? His accounting firm went and audited 96 of these same strategies across their entire client base. And only 4 out of those 96 were set up correctly. And he was one of those 4. So the other 92 were completely built wrong and had a lot of issues. So here's the situation. A couple in Nova Scotia, mid to late 40s, one kid. So he's got an operating company feeding to a holding company, and the holding company had a property in it and basically no cash. So every year the profit came out as dividends. He paid personal tax on it at the highest rate, and whatever was left went into RRSPs. So that was the entire plan. And nothing about that is technically wrong. It's just that he was paying close to 50% in personal tax to move from one pocket to just another pocket. And nobody has never asked him whether the money actually had to leave the corporation in the first place. So Scott, the advisor, showed him a different version. So same $120,000 a year, but 2 very different places for that money to land. So instead of pulling it out as dividends, getting taxed at 50% and putting what's left into an RRSP, what if that $120,000 stayed inside the corporation and went into something that grows tax exempt? All right. So 3 moves happen here. First, the corporation buys a participating whole life policy. So the corporation owns it, right? Not the business owner. The corporation owns it, and the corporation is also the beneficiary, right? That part matters a lot because if the shareholder is the beneficiary while the company pays the premiums, well, you've just created another taxable shareholder benefit, and the CRA is going to come after you. So by keeping it all corporate in the business, the premiums are paid with corporate dollars taxed at about 12 to 15% instead of personal dollars taxed at close to 50%. Second, and this is the piece that almost nobody gets right, they overfunded the policy right up to the CRA exempt test limit. Not a dollar past it, right? So $120,000 a year for 10 years, that's $1.5 million total. Then the deposits stop and the policy just keeps growing on its own. Most advisors don't structure it this way, so they sell the biggest death benefit possible instead because that pays them roughly 3 times the commission. But Scott, being a good advisor, did the complete opposite. So he pushed the death benefit down and the cash value went a lot higher. And third, the death benefit runs through a capital dividend account when he passes. So the money reaches his family without any tax on the way out of the corporation. So no deemed disposition, no 53% personal tax, a very clean transfer. So here's where the numbers land. So year 1, right away, almost $2.8 million in death benefit is in place with a $2.6 million CDA credit. So his family is protected from day 1. Then year 20, after 10 years of funding and 10 more years of growth, the cash value inside the policy is almost $2.9 million. So if he had taken that same money, pulled it out as dividends, paid the personal tax, and invested it at 7% in the market, he'd have about $2.3 million. And that's before tax on the gains. So the insurance route beats the investment route by over $500,000, and it's also tax exempt. And from year 20, he can pull $22,000 a year tax-free through policy loans he never has to repay. So the investment route runs out of money in year 14 of retirement, but his strategy runs for 20 years and still leaves almost $2.7 million behind for his family. And finally, year 40, the death benefit has grown to almost $10 million, full capital dividend account credits, and all of it flows to the family tax-free. So here's the part that sealed it for him, is that he didn't just take Scott's word for it. He was actually postponed during medical underwriting, which dragged the whole process out by months. And during that time, he had his accounting firm review the entire strategy. This is a large firm with their own insurance division. And they went and audited 96 insurance strategies across their whole client base, and only 4 out of those 96 were set up correctly. And he was also one of those 4. So the other 92 had problems. Not enough liquidity, unusual structures, or they use universal life with market risk built into protection that's supposed to reduce risk. So 92 out of 96 advisors got it wrong. Scott was one of those 4 that got it right. So if your corporation has retained earnings sitting in it and nobody has ever walked you through what that money actually could be doing inside a properly structured policy, well, that's a conversation you should probably have. And if you already have a policy in place, the question is whether yours is one of the 4 that are actually legit or one of the 92 that weren't. So links below if you guys want to have a conversation.